The first time a stranger tried to hand me a microphone, I was balancing a plate of mini waffles and pretending my hands were steadier than they were. The brunch room was bright in that deliberate way, like somebody had argued with the sun and won. Glitter caught in the air whenever someone laughed. The windows looked out on a gray street, but inside, everything was pink and gold and unapologetic. I had spent an hour getting ready in my apartment that morning, moving with the careful focus of someone defusing a bomb. It was not that I was afraid of eyeliner, exactly. It was that I was afraid of what eyeliner meant to other people. My wig was a soft chestnut bob with a side part. Not huge, not a parody, just hair, the way I wished my hair could be when it wasn't doing whatever it wanted out of spite. My dress was navy, knee-length, with a simple neckline and sleeves that made me feel put together without screaming for attention. I'd worn nude tights, low heels I could actually walk in, and a cardigan I could clutch like a shield if I needed it. A tiny necklace. Earrings that didn't swing wildly when I turned my head. If someone had asked me what I was doing, I would have said, "I'm going to brunch with my best friend." If someone had asked me what I was wearing, I would have said, "Clothes, the ones that make me feel like myself." But nobody asked me that, not in the way that mattered. "Excuse me," a woman said, stepping into my orbit, with the confidence of someone used to running things. She wore a hot pink blazer over a black tank, and her lipstick was the kind of red you buy when you want to feel like you have your life together. A lanyard bounced against her chest, and a clipboard lived under her arm like it belonged there. I smiled politely. "Hi." Her eyes flicked over me and brightened, like she'd solved a puzzle. "You look amazing. Thank you for coming early." My smile tightened. "Oh, I'm just here for the brunch." She waved that away. Of course, but still, we love a professional who supports the scene." Professional? I glanced behind me, half expecting there to be an actual performer with a feather fan and a suitcase of costumes standing directly over my shoulder. There was a table of bachelorettes shrieking into mimosas, a couple on what looked like a cautious first date, a group of older women wearing shirts that said, "Let's get brunchy," no one with a suitcase. "I'm not performing," I said. The woman blinked as if I'd spoken another language. Then she laughed, light and unbothered. "Honey, you don't have to be humble. We're all friends here." I felt heat crawl up my neck. The room was full of people who could look at me without flinching, but somehow this one assumption made my skin feel too tight. "I'm serious," I said. "I'm Kevin. I'm just attending." Her mouth opened slightly. Then she shut it and took me in again, slower this way. Time. Like she was recalibrating. To her credit, she didn't look offended. She looked impressed. "Oh," she said, and then a grin spread across her face like I'd given her a gift. "Okay, Kevin." "Well, Kevin, I'm Marcy. I run the brunch events here, and I have to say, if you're not one of the performers, you should be." My pulse did a weird little flip that I did not want to acknowledge. Validation is a dangerous drug, especially when it hits in public. "I'm flattered," I said automatically, because I'd been raised correctly. Marcy leaned closer, lowering her voice like she was letting me in on a secret. "No, seriously, we're doing a themed brunch next month. Icons and divas. I pay my performers, cash at the end of the set. You would kill it." I stared at her. My brain scrambled for a response that wasn't a Spilstum reboot. I don't do that," I managed. Marcy's eyebrows rose. "You don't do drag?" I swallowed. "I mean, I'm not a drag performer." She tilted her head, studying my face, and something in her expression softened. "Okay," she said, like she was shifting gears in her mind. "So you like presenting femme. That's what I'm seeing." The way she said it made it sound normal, like she was describing someone's haircut. I nodded, small. "Yeah." "Well," she said brightly, going back to her full volume, "you're gorgeous, your makeup is clean, your outfit is chic, you have stage presence just standing here. If you ever want to try it, I've got a slot. I'm serious. Here." She pulled a card off a stack on her clipboard and wrote something on the back with a pen. "Text me. Even if it's a no, I want you to have my number, because you, Kevin, are a vibe. She pressed the card into my hand like it opened it again. Thank you. Marcy winked. Enjoy the brunch, babe. Then she was gone, moving through the room, calling someone darling and someone else trouble, and somehow managing to make it all sound like affection. I stood there holding my plate and her card, feeling like I'd been spotted by a spotlight that hadn't even turned on yet. Kev! Sloane's voice cut through the noise like she owned the air. She weaved between tables and bodies, her dark curls bouncing. She wore a mustard yellow jumpsuit that made her look like she should be in a magazine, and her glasses were the kind people complimented. She threw her arms around me in a hug that was careful around my wig. You look so good, she said into my shoulder, like disturbingly good. People are going to propose. I laughed, the tension easing a little. I already got propositioned. Sloane pulled back, eyes wide. Excuse me? I held up the card. Event host thinks I'm a performer, offered me a paid slot next month. Sloane's expression shifted from surprise to delight to something more thoughtful in about 2 seconds. Okay, first of all, iconic. Second, are you okay? I blinked at her. Why wouldn't I be? Because sometimes attention feels like a hug, and sometimes it feels like being grabbed, she said matter of fact. Which one is it? I looked down at my waffles like they might give me insight. Both. Affles nodded like that made perfect sense. Come sit, tell me everything. Also, I ordered us the most irresponsible drinks on the menu. We slid into a booth near the back where we could see the tiny stage but were not directly under it. The room was filling up, and the bass from the speakers made the silverware rattle faintly. A server dropped off 2 flutes of something pink and sparkling, with fruit floating inside like tiny jewels. Sloane clinked her glass against to Brunch, to you, couldn't help smiling. Cheers. We drank. The mimosa was sweet and dangerous. So, Sloane said, elbows on the table, leaning in, Marcy, paid slot, next month. How much are we talking? I didn't ask, I said. Sloane looked at me like I'd admitted to turning down free money on purpose. Kevin. I know, I said, laughing despite myself. It's not that I don't, money is money. And you, my friend, have student loans and a landlord who recently decided the hallway light bulbs are made of gold, she pointed out. I sighed. Yes, I also have a job, a normal job where I answer emails. Right, Sloane said, waving a hand. But extra money is extra money. Plus, validation. I picked at the edge of my napkin. That's the problem. Sloane's eyes softened. Tell me. I hesitated, because saying it out loud would make it real. But Sloane was the person I texted when I found a shirt that made me feel brave, and the person who talked me down when my brain convinced me everyone was staring at my painted nails on the subway. So I said it. I like dressing like this, I said, voice low. I like it when it's just normal, when I'm just existing. But when she thought I was a performer, it felt like she was saying, oh, this makes sense because it's entertainment, like it has to be a thing. Sloane nodded slowly, like if you're femme, it must be a costume. Exactly, I said. Relief loosened my shoulders. Like if I show up looking like this, people want a reason, a label, a punchline, drag brunch, performer, party trick, something they can fit into a box that doesn't challenge them too much. And if you don't give them a box, they build one out of whatever's nearby, Sloane said. Yes, I said, grateful again that she spoke fluent Kevin. A cheer went up as the first performer stepped onto the stage. She was tall and glittering, in a gown that looked like a disco ball decided to become fabric. Her wig was platinum and huge. The room erupted in applause like she'd just saved everyone from a sinking ship. The performer raised her arms. Good morning, sinners! Good morning, the crowd yelled back, laughing. As the music started and she began lip-syncing, I felt something in my chest loosen. There was joy here, big, ridiculous, fearless joy, and I loved it. But I also felt the other thing, the sharp awareness that people were looking at the stage for a reason. It was supposed to be looked at. It was supposed to be a show. Sloane watched me watching, her eyes tracking my face. "You don't have to turn into entertainment to be allowed in this room," she said quietly. My throat tightened. "I know." "Do you?" she asked gently. I exhaled. "I'm trying to." Sloane took a sip of her drink. "Listen, if you want to perform because you think it would be fun, because you want to try it, because you have a song in your heart and a dramatic reveal in your soul, then yes, do it. I will throw money at you like an irresponsible aunt." I snorted. "But if you feel like you should do it to make other people comfortable," she continued, "or to justify why you dress femme, or to prove you belong, then no, absolutely not. That's a trap." I stared at her. A trap. "It starts with, 'Oh, you're so brave,' and ends with people expecting you to be a walking lesson plan," she said. "You don't owe anybody a performance." The performer on stage dipped into a dramatic split. The crowd screamed. Someone near us whooped loud enough to qualify as a small hurricane. Sloane leaned closer. "You're allowed to be femme without turning it into a show." The words landed like a warm weight. Simple. Solid. I nodded. "Okay." Sloane grinned. "Also, you're allowed to say thank you to Marcy and still decline. You can be flattered without getting drafted." "That's a very specific sentence," I said. Sloane shrugged. "I contain multitudes." For a while, we watched the performances. I ate my waffles. Sloane stole half my bacon like she always did. I laughed when the queen on stage ad-libbed jokes about brunch culture and hangovers and chaotic exes. I cheered with everyone else. I even relaxed enough to dance a little in my booth when the DJ played something catchy. And still, Marcy's card sat in my purse like it had weight. After brunch, as we stood outside in the cold air waiting for our rides, Sloane bumped her shoulder against mine. "So what are you thinking?" she asked. I watched my breath fog the air. "I'm thinking it would be nice to be wanted." Sloane's face softened. "Yeah. And it would be nice to get paid for something that doesn't make me feel like I'm drowning in spreadsheets," I added. "Also, yeah. But I'm also thinking," I said slowly, "that if I perform, it becomes evidence. Like proof that this is a thing I do for attention." Sloane tilted her head. "You mean for people who already think that?" I nodded. Sloane sighed. "Okay, here's the annoying part. People who want to misunderstand you are going to do it no matter what you do. If you perform, they'll say, 'See, it's a show.' If you don't perform, they'll say, 'See, he's hiding.'" I frowned. "That's grim." "Welcome to being perceived," Sloane said cheerfully. Then her voice gentled. "But you get to decide what's true, not them." I swallowed. "I'm not sure my mom agrees with that." Sloane's eyebrows lifted. "Did you tell your mom?" I shook my head quickly. "No, God, no." Sloane gave me a look. "Kevin." "What?" I said defensively. "It's complicated." "I know it's complicated," she said, not unkind. "But she's not a mythical creature. She's your mom." "My mom still calls my cousin's wife her friend, like it's 2003, I muttered. Sloane made a face. "Okay, fair." I said, staring down the street, "I don't want to deal with her questions, or her panic, or her thinking this is a phase, or a cry for attention, or a joke." Sloane's gaze held mine. "Do you want her to know eventually?" My chest tightened. The honest answer rose up before I could polish it. "Yes," I said softly. "I just want control. I want to tell her when I'm ready, not because something explodes." Sloane nodded. "That makes sense." My phone buzzed with a rideshare notification. I hugged Sloane, then got in the car, watching the brunch place shrink in the rear window. On the ride home, I pulled Marcy's card out and stared at the handwriting on the back. Text me. Slot saved. You would kill it. I felt that familiar tug, the one that came when someone saw me and didn't flinch, when someone didn't treat the way I dressed like it was shameful, secret, or a comedy skit, when someone just went, yes, that works. Then I imagined standing on stage, under lights, with hundreds of eyes locked on me like I was a thing to be interpreted. My stomach turned. When I got home, I took off my wig carefully and placed it on its stand. I wiped my makeup away slowly, watching my face reappear. The man people expected. The man my mother knew. In the mirror, with my eyeliner gone, I still felt the ghost of it. I sat on the edge of my bed and picked up my phone. I didn't text Marcy that night, but I didn't throw the card away either. A week later, I was at my mom's house on a Tuesday evening because she'd texted me, I made too much chicken soup. Bring containers. My mom, Janet, lived in the same suburban house I'd grown up in, with the same lilac bush out front and the same wind chimes that always sounded like gentle warnings. She'd retired last year from her job at the library and had immediately filled her days with volunteering and reorganizing every drawer in existence. When I walked in, she was in the kitchen, hair up, wearing an apron that said, "Soup is my love language." "You look tired," she said by way of greeting. "Hi to you too," I said, kissing her cheek. She sniffed. "You work too much." "I work a normal amount," I lied. She handed me a ladle. "Taste. Tell me if it needs more salt." I tasted, and it was perfect, like everything she made. I told her so, and she hummed in satisfaction. We did the usual dance, me filling containers, her asking about my job, me giving vague answers, her telling me about a neighbor's dog that ate a loaf of bread, both of us laughing. For a while, it felt like the easy version of our relationship, the one where I could pretend there weren't whole parts of me she didn't know. Then she said, casually, "So, how was your show?" The ladle froze in my hand. My what? Janet turned to face me, her eyes sharp in a way that made my stomach drop. She held up a glossy flyer, a full-color printout. And there I was. It was a photo from the brunch, a candid shot of me laughing with my drink, leaning toward Sloan. My wig, my dress, my earrings, clear as day. The background was blurred, but the stage lights were recognizable. Above the photo, in bold letters, it read, "Drag Brunch returns," featuring local talent, 1 day only, tickets online. My mouth went dry. Janet's voice was careful, controlled. "A friend of mine sent this to me." She said, "Isn't this Kevin?" I set the ladle down slowly, like it might explode. "Mom, I can explain." "I should hope so," she said, and the way she said it hurt more than if she'd shouted, "because this is not what you told me you were doing on Sundays." My heartbeat pounded in my ears. What did you think I was doing on Sundays? Janet lifted the flyer a little higher. "You said you were meeting Sloan for brunch. You said you were going to that new place in the city. You didn't say anything about—" She gestured vaguely with the flyer, like she couldn't find the right word. "This is brunch," I said, but it came out thin. Janet stared at me. "Kevin, is that you?" "Yes," I whispered. Her face tightened. "And you're dressed like a woman." The word woman landed like a heavy object, not because it was wrong, but because of the way she said it, like it was an accusation. "I'm dressed femme," I said quietly. "I'm cross-dressing." Janet's eyes widened, like I'd admitted to something dangerous. "Cross-dressing," she repeated, tasting the word with discomfort. "Yes," I said. My hands were trembling. "I've been doing that, sometimes." "How long?" she asked, and her voice was thin. "How long have you been lying to me?" "I wasn't lying," I said quickly. "I just didn't tell you." "That is lying," she snapped, then visibly forced herself to breathe. She set the flyer down on the counter as if it was contaminated. "Why didn't you tell me?" Because I didn't want to watch you look at me like I'd turned into a stranger, I thought. Because I didn't want the sighs and the prayers and the weird silence. Instead, I said, I wasn't ready. Janet folded her arms. Are you performing? No, I said immediately. No, I'm not. I'm not a performer. I was there as a guest. Janet's eyes flicked to the flyer again. Then why are you on the flyer? I swallowed. Marcy posted photos from the event. I guess someone used them for promotion. And you're okay with that? She said, disbelief coloring every syllable. I didn't know, I said. I didn't approve it. I didn't. Janet pressed her lips together. Kevin. Mom, I said, voice cracking. I didn't plan for you to find out like this. She looked at me for a long moment. Her eyes were shiny, but not with tears, with frustration, with fear, with a confusion I could practically see her trying to chew through. Are you, she began, then stopped. Her face flushed slightly. Are you trying to be a woman? My throat tightened. No. Are you gay? She asked, and my chest pinched with the familiar ache of being reduced to categories. Like there had to be a single explanation that made this tidy. I exhaled slowly. Mom, I'm not ready to give you a neat answer to every question you have, but I can tell you this. I'm still me. Janet's gaze dropped, then lifted again. Then why would you do this? I wanted to say, because it feels right, because it makes my brain quiet, because it lets me breathe. But I knew the moment wasn't ready for poetry. So I said, because I like it. Janet flinched as if I'd said something obscene. Kevin. I know, I said quickly. I know. It sounds strange to you. But it's not a joke. And it's not a performance. It's not me trying to trick anyone. Janet rubbed her forehead. A friend of mine sent me this. She said it looked like you were one of the entertainers, like you were up there making a spectacle. I wasn't, I said firmly. I sat in a booth and ate waffles. Janet didn't laugh. The kitchen, which usually felt like safety, felt like a stage of its own. The overhead light hummed. The soup steamed. The air felt thick. After a long silence, Janet said quietly, Have you been doing this around strangers? Yes, I said. And around your friends, she said, voice edged with hurt. Yes. And not around me, she finished. I couldn't look at her. Yes. Janet's voice softened in a way that scared me more than anger. Why didn't you trust me? My throat burned. I didn't know if you'd see me the same. Janet's eyes searched mine, and would that be so terrible? I almost laughed, but it came out like a sob caught in my chest. It would hurt. Janet sank onto a kitchen chair like her legs gave out. She stared at the flyer again, then up at me, and I saw the fight in her, the part of her that wanted to snap everything back into the version of her son she understood. Then she said something small, almost to herself. You look happy. I blinked. My eyes stung. I was. Janet's mouth tightened. And now? Now, as if that made sense too. We stood in the mess of it for a while, neither of us knowing how to move without making it worse. Finally, Janet stood and slid containers toward me. Take the soup, she said, voice strained. I need time. I nodded because I didn't know what else to do. I packed the containers in silence, my hands moving on autopilot. At the door, I turned back. Mom, I said softly, I'm sorry you found out that way. Janet's eyes were tired. I'm sorry you thought you had to hide. That nearly broke me. I left with soup and a knot in my chest that felt like it might live there forever. That night, I called Sloane. She answered on the second ring. Hey, you okay? I'm going to throw up, I said. Okay, she said instantly, voice shifting into emergency mode. What happened? My mom found a flyer, I said, and my voice shook, with my photo. Sloane swore under her breath. Oh no. She thinks I've been lying, I said. She thinks I'm performing. She asked if I'm trying to be a woman and if I'm gay, and I didn't know what to say because I was standing in her kitchen holding a ladle. Sloane exhaled slowly. Okay, that's a lot. I didn't want her to know like this, I whispered. I know, Sloane said gently, but she knows now, and you're still alive, which is not. Nothing. I let out a shaky laugh. Barely. Sloane's voice softened. What did you tell her? I told her everything, or at least the version I could say out loud without crumpling. Sloane listened without interrupting, only making quiet sounds of attention. When I finished, there was a pause. Then Sloane said, Okay, first of all, I'm proud of you for not sprinting out the window. Second, your mom is allowed to be confused, but you are also allowed to set boundaries. I stared at the ceiling. What does that even look like? It looks like you telling her what you told me, Sloane said, that dressing femme isn't automatically a joke or an act, that it's not a trick, that it's not for other people. I swallowed. She thinks if I dress like this in public, I'm inviting attention. Sloane sighed. That's the thing. People confuse visible with asking. The phrase landed in my chest, heavy and right. And Kevin, Sloane added, you don't have to prove anything by performing, but you also don't have to hide because she's uncomfortable. My stomach turned. I don't know if I can handle being openly me around her. You can handle more than you think, Sloane said, but you don't have to do it alone. I closed my eyes. Marcy offered me a slot, I admitted, and now part of me wants to do it just to, I don't know, to take control back, to turn it into something I choose. Sloane was quiet for a beat. Do you want to perform? I don't know, I said honestly. I like the idea of being admired. I like the idea of being paid. But I don't like the idea of people thinking my femininity only makes sense as entertainment. Then don't, Sloane said simply. I swallowed. What if that makes me a coward? Sloane snorted. Kevin, choosing not to do something that doesn't feel right is not cowardice. It's adulthood. I laughed, weakly. That's the worst possible answer. You're welcome, she said. Then, softer. What do you want to do next? I stared into the dark. I want to go to brunch next month. Sloane's voice warmed. Okay. And I want my mom to see that I'm not hiding, I said, surprising myself. Not because I owe her a performance, not because I want to shock her, but because I'm tired of feeling like I'm doing something wrong. Sloane hummed. That sounds like you. My chest tightened. I don't know how to do that without it becoming a whole thing. It will be a thing, Sloane said gently, but it doesn't have to be a disaster. You can take it one conversation at a time. I exhaled. Okay. Sloane's tone brightened. Also, if we're going to brunch next month, we need to plan your outfit, because if your mother is going to have opinions, you might as well be stunning. Despite everything, I laughed. A real laugh. Of course, I said, because that solves everything. It solves at least one thing, Sloane replied, and sometimes that's enough. 2 days later, I texted Marcy. Hey, it's Kevin. Thanks again for the offer. I'm flattered, but I'm not looking to perform. My thumb hovered over send for a full minute, my heart pounding like I was about to launch a missile. Then I hit send. Marcy replied almost immediately. Kevin, totally respect that. You are welcome here anytime, performer or not. If you ever change your mind, the door is open. Also, you were honestly the best dressed guest. I stared at the message until my eyes blurred. It was such a small thing, a simple respect of my no, but it felt like water. I wrote back, thank you. See you next month. Then I sat on my couch and let myself breathe. The next week, I drove back to my mom's house, my hands clenched on the steering wheel the whole way. I'd called her once, and she'd let it go to voicemail. I'd texted, "Can we talk?" She'd replied, "Yes, come by Thursday." Now it was Thursday, and my stomach was full of bees. She opened the door before I could knock. Her hair was down, and she looked tired. Not angry, just worn. "Hi," I said. "Hi," she answered, stepping back to let me in. We sat in the living room like we were strangers meeting for the first time. The couch felt too soft, swallowing me. The air smelled like lemon cleaner. Janet folded her hands in her lap. "I didn't sleep well," she said. "Me neither," I admitted. She nodded, staring at a spot on the carpet. "I keep thinking, did I miss something? Were there signs? Did you try to tell me?" I swallowed. "I didn't try. Not really." Janet's eyes lifted to mine. "Why?" Swallowing was softer now. Less accusation, more ache. "I didn't want to fight," I said quietly. "I didn't want to be analyzed or mocked or pitied." Janet flinched at the word, mocked. "I would never mock you." "I know you wouldn't mean to," I said, voice careful. "But sometimes people laugh when they're uncomfortable, or they say things like, 'Is this a joke?' Or, 'Are you doing this for attention?'" Janet's face tightened. "That's what I thought at first," she admitted. "When I saw the flyer, I thought, oh my God, my son is making himself into a spectacle." I nodded slowly. "That's why I'm telling you now, directly. It's not a joke. It's not an act. It's not me trying to be the center of attention. Sometimes I just want to wear clothes that don't match what people expect from me." Janet's fingers twisted together. "But you were at a drag brunch." "I was," I said, "because it's a place where I can present femme and not get stared at like I'm an emergency." Janet's eyes softened slightly. "And you like it?" "Yes," I said, voice steadying. "I do." Janet looked like she wanted to ask a dozen questions, and also like she was afraid of the answers. She said, "I don't understand." "I know," I said gently. "You don't have to fully understand to treat me like I'm still your son." Janet's throat worked. "You are my son." The words came out like a vow. I let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. She looked at me for a long moment. Then she said, "Are you going to do that all the time?" I hesitated. "I don't know. Sometimes. Maybe more sometimes. I'm not making promises. I'm telling you what's true right now." Janet nodded slowly, like she was taking notes in her mind. "And there's something else," I added, because if I didn't say it now, I might never say it. I was offered a performance slot, paid, and I declined. Janet blinked. "You declined?" "Yes," I said, "because I don't want people to think my femininity only makes sense as entertainment." Janet stared at me, and I saw her trying to reconcile that with the image in her head. "So you're not doing it for attention," she said slowly, almost testing the words. "I'm doing it because it feels right," I said, then winced internally at how loaded that sounded. But it was still the truth. Not because I want people to clap. Janet's eyes glistened. "But people will look." "People look at everything," I said softly. "They look at tattoos. They look at women breastfeeding. They look at anyone who doesn't blend in. That doesn't mean I'm asking them to decide what I mean." Janet pressed a hand to her chest, like she was steadying herself. "I'm scared," she admitted. The honesty startled me more than anger would have. "Of what?" I asked quietly. She swallowed. "Of someone hurting you. Of you getting laughed at. Of you being targeted." My throat tightened. "I'm scared of that too." Janet nodded. "And you." The sentence hit like a bruise. "Then know me," I said, voice rough. "Not the version of me that's easiest. The real one." Janet stared at me for a long time. Then she whispered, "Okay." It wasn't a magical moment where everything healed, but it was a crack in the wall, and light came through. Before I left, she touched my arm gently. "Are you going again? To that brunch?" "Yes," I said. Janet hesitated. "Will you be safe?" "I'll be with Sloan," I said, "and I'll be careful." Janet nodded, then surprised me by asking, "Do you want me to come?" My mouth opened, closed. My heart did a slow, startled thump. "I don't know if you'd like it," I said honestly. Janet gave a shaky laugh. "I don't know if I'd like it either." We stared at each other, both of us aware of the cliff edge. "I don't want you to come because you feel like you have to," I said carefully. "And I don't want you to come just to monitor me." Janet's cheeks flushed. "That's fair." I took a breath. "But if you want to see what it actually is, without the flyer version of it, you can." Janet nodded slowly. "Let me think." "Okay," I said. As I drove home, the knot in my chest loosened a little. Not gone, but looser. A month passed in a blur of work emails and laundry and half-finished plans. I tried not to think about the brunch, but it waited for me like a date circled on a calendar in invisible ink. The morning of the event, I stood in front of my closet and stared at two versions of myself hanging side by side, the safe clothes and the clothes that made me feel awake. I chose the awake ones. I didn't go over the top. I didn't pick something designed to shock. I chose a forest green wrap dress that hugged my waist without clinging and a pair of boots with a low heel that made me feel grounded. I wore subtle makeup, soft eyeshadow, mascara, lipstick the color of berries. I pinned my hair back on one side with a little clip that caught the light. I looked in the mirror and tried to see myself the way I wanted to be seen. Not a punchline, not a dare, not a headline. Just a person. My phone buzzed. "Sloan. Outside. Also, you better be cute." I texted back. "I am always cute. It's a medical condition." When I stepped outside, Sloan let out a dramatic gasp from the driver's seat. "Oh my God," she said loudly, as if announcing the arrival of royalty. Kevin, you look like you own a houseplant and never let it die." "That is the highest compliment you've ever given me," I said, climbing into the car. "Thank you," she said. "I mean it. You look elegant, like you're about to ruin someone's life in a tasteful way." "I'm going to eat waffles," I said. "Waffles can ruin lives," Sloan replied solemnly, then pulled away from the curb. My stomach churned on the drive. Not because of nerves about brunch. Because of my mom. She texted me 3 days earlier. "I'm not coming. I'm not ready. But I love you." It was the first time she'd said those words in connection to this. It had made me cry in the break room at work like a person who had no business being around office coffee. She wasn't coming. That was fine. That was safer, probably. And yet, as we parked, my phone buzzed again. "Mom, what time does it start?" I stared at the screen. Sloan glanced over. "Everything okay?" "My mom just asked what time it starts," I said. Sloan's eyebrows shot up. "Oh." My heart pounded. I typed back, "Doors at 11, show at 12. You don't have to come." A minute passed. "Mom, I want to see you. I'm parking now." And stomach dropped so hard it felt like whistle. "Okay, big moment." "I'm going to pass out," I said faintly. Sloan reached over and squeezed my hand. "Nope, you're going to. Breathe. You're going to walk in. You're going to eat waffles. And whatever happens, I'm here." I nodded because nodding was easier than speaking. Inside, the brunch place buzzed with the same glittering joy as before. Music pulsed, people laughed, the room smelled like syrup and perfume and fried food. Marcy stood near the entrance again, clipboard in hand, looking like she ran the universe between song transitions. Her eyes caught mine, and her face lit up. "Kevin," she called, striding toward me. "Look at you!" I smiled, feeling less like I was being inspected and more like I was being welcomed. "Hi." Marcy leaned in for a quick hug, careful not to smudge anything. "Thank you for coming back. And thank you for texting me. I meant what I said, doors open no matter what. I appreciate that, I said sincerely. Marcy's gaze flicked over my shoulder, then back. You got a bigger crew this time. I turned and saw my mom standing just inside the doorway, hands clenched around her purse strap like it was the only thing keeping her anchored to earth. She wore a navy coat and sensible shoes, her hair neatly styled. She looked like she'd stepped into the wrong movie. Her eyes were on me. Not on the stage, not on the crowd, on me. I felt my throat tighten. Sloane murmured, "Showtime, babe," then stepped slightly behind me like she was giving me room while still being close enough to catch me. I walked toward my mom, every step loud in my head. Janet's eyes were shiny, and her jaw was set like she'd had a pep talk with herself in the car. "Hi," I said. "Hi," she replied, her voice a little too bright. Then her gaze flicked over me, taking in the dress, the makeup, the hair. I watched her face for signs of disgust or panic. Instead, she looked overwhelmed, like she didn't know where to put her feelings. "You came," I said softly. Janet swallowed. "I did." I hesitated. "You don't have to stay." Janet shook her head once. "I want to see what it is, and I want to see you." The words squeezed my chest. Sloane stepped forward, smiling warmly. "Hi, Janet. I'm Sloane. We've talked on the phone like twice." Janet blinked, then managed a small smile. "Yes, hello." Sloane gestured to the room. "It's loud, but it's fun. Also, the waffles are excellent." Janet let out a shaky laugh. "That's what Kevin said." Marcy appeared beside us again, somehow sensing a moment. "Hey there," she said to my mom, her tone friendly and calm. "Welcome. I'm Marcy. You here for the show?" Janet hesitated. "I'm here with my son." Marcy's smile didn't falter. "Lucky you. He's got great taste." Janet looked startled, then nodded as if she'd been handed a script. We moved toward a table. Sloane had clearly planned ahead because she guided us to a booth near the back where we could see the stage without being swallowed by the crowd. Janet slid in stiffly, posture straight. A server came by for drink orders. Janet asked for water so quickly it was like she was afraid of saying anything else. Sloane ordered a mimosa. I ordered coffee because my hands were already shaking enough. As the room filled, Janet's eyes darted around. She watched the performers greeting people, the couples laughing, the groups taking selfies. No one stared at us like we were a problem. No one pointed. The energy was celebratory, not predatory. The queens moved through the room like bright comets, complimenting outfits, cracking jokes, making people feel seen. Janet leaned toward me. "Does everyone know you?" she asked quietly. I shook my head. "No, they just don't care in the way you think they will." Janet's lips pressed together. "I'm trying." "I know," I said. The show started with the same booming greeting and the same wave of cheers. Janet flinched at the volume, then watched, eyes wide, as the first queen took the stage in a sequined jumpsuit and launched into a song with exaggerated drama and perfect timing. The room exploded with applause. I glanced at my mom. She looked startled, then confused, then, slowly, amused. A reluctant smile tugged at her mouth when the performer made a joke about brunch calories not counting if you sing along. Janet leaned closer again. "They're very talented," she said, sounding like she'd discovered a new species. Sloane grinned. "Right, they work hard." The performer moved through the room, collecting tips, making eye contact with people, making them feel like part of the show. When she reached our booth, she paused. "Well, hello," she purred, looking at me. "You are serving." I felt my cheeks heat. "Thank you." She turned to my mom. "And you, honey, you look like you were dragged here." Janet stiffened. I opened my mouth, ready to intervene. Then Janet surprised me, queen in the eye, and said, "I was invited." The queen's smile widened. "Good, because your baby looks gorgeous and you better be proud." Janet blinked, caught off guard. I I'm his mother." The Queen clasped her hands dramatically. "Oh my God, a mom in the wild. We love a mom. Welcome, Janet." Janet's eyes widened at her name. "How do you know my name?" The Queen winked and glanced at Sloane, who lifted her eyebrows innocently. "I have my ways," the Queen said. Then, softer to my mom, "You're safe here. He's safe here. Tip if you want. Clap if you want. Just have fun." With that, she moved on, leaving Janet staring after her like she'd been hit by a friendly truck. Sloane leaned in, delighted. "You just got blessed by a queen." Janet let out a breath that might have been a laugh. "She's very everything," Sloane supplied. Janet nodded slowly. "Yes, everything." As the show continued, I watched my mom's shoulders lower by fractions, not relaxing fully, but unclenching. She sipped her water. She laughed once, then looked surprised that she'd laughed. She watched the crowd respond, the way people cheered not because they were mocking, but because they were enjoying, because joy can be a form of respect. At one point, between sets, Marcy took the mic and made announcements about upcoming events. My heart thudded when she mentioned the next month's theme and called out that they were always looking for new performers. I felt Janet stiffen beside me. "Mom," I whispered, "I need to say something." Janet looked at me. "What?" "I'm not performing," I said quietly. "I declined. I'm here as myself. That's it." "Why did you decline?" "Because I refuse to let anyone turn me into a joke," I thought. "Because I'm allowed to exist without being explained." I said, "Because I don't want you or anyone to think this is only okay if it's a show." Janet's mouth tightened. "Is that what I thought?" "Yes," I admitted. "You thought there had to be a reason, a justification." Janet's eyes shimmered. "I did." This swallowed hard. Dressing like an act, it's not me doing a bit. Janet nodded slowly, her gaze dropping to my hands on the table. My nails were painted a soft, neutral color. She stared at them like she was trying to see the world through them. "I grew up," Janet said quietly, "with the idea that men dress like women to make people laugh." I felt a sharp pain in my chest, old and familiar. "I know." Janet's voice wavered. "When I saw that flyer, my first thought was that you were being laughed at." I blinked hard. "And now?" Janet looked around, taking in the room, the cheers, the warmth. "Now it looks like people are celebrating." I nodded. "Yes." Janet's lips pressed together. "And you. And you." "Yes. And you. And you." "Why? If you meet while you threw them from the past for what, when you will. What it, you always to be. And you have you? You know I produced them to me." "Yes." Janet's lips pressed together. "And you. And you." Janet's lips pressed together. "And you. And you." Janet's lips pressed together. "You are helping for you. Under for what? While you were medder. Under for what?" Janet's lips pressed together. "You were formally. Under for what? You do not wait with you. Under for what? You do not wait with you. You find anywhere. You need to start together. My forewear. You finally wear allow and forecasting to continue work. Away you root. You were never to do. Let's go head 'em in a year, an even you way, and for what? You noticed to the later for you, I wonder for certains of improved, allow working form. You can see the part of you low, that there's a future further improved matter, you can see them for your telling it. And you don't want to training a many and open from your throw time, and your change me with your consider in the world. If you need to finally find, you renning you ready you want, you know what you can't found at. While you look at you are writing your personal concern, you please don't like them. You produce them wherever for you look like you to do your right. You can also the letly to do your front. I did never like you do know, you can see them. You can like them. You can see them for what? You can see them in what like them. You can see them for the world together. And that's why the concern for the world, you can see them and Wallach. You can like them. You can see them for what? You can see them river for you luck. You can see them through what? You can see them likely reported you're right. You can see them through what? You can see them likely reported you're right. You can see them the groat and people reported. Well, you feel the Chris and they're known. You can see them for what? You can see them like themselves. You can see them for what? All the where you can see them to me. You can see them when you're Christ, with your rights are result. You can see them like them for what? You can see them like them all right. You can see them like them for what? Or you can see them like them. You can see them like them for what? You can see them like them for what? You can see them like them for what? All the where you can see them like them. You can see them like them for what? Or you can see them if you try to matter. With your right, you can see them like them. What do you do it? You can see them to me. You can see them like them for what? You can see them there. You can see them like them for what? You can see them like them. You can see them like them for what? You can see them like them. You can see them like them. What you feel you wear. You can see them like them for what? You can see them like them for what? What do you two you wear? You can see them like them for what? You can see them like them. You can see them like them for what? You can see them like them for what? You can see them like them for what? What you can see them. You can see them like them for what? Or you can see them like them. You can see them like them for what? What you can see them. You can see them like them. You can see them like them for what? What do you two you wear? You can see them like them for what? What you can see them. You can see them like them for what? You can see them like them. You can see them like them for what? You can see them like them. You can see them like them for what? You can see them like them. You can see them like them for what? You can see them like them. You can see them like them. You can see them like them. You can see them like them for what? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? You can see them like them. You can see them like them for what? You can see them. You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? You can see them like them. You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them. You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? You can see them like them. You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? You can see them like them. You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them. You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? you can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? What do you do it? You can see them like them for what? You cannot know. What do you do it? You can see them like them. 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 You can see them. What do you do it? You can see them like them. You can see them like them. You can see them. You can see them like them. You can see them like them. You can see them. What do you do it? You can see them like them. You can see them. You can see them like them. You can see them like them. What do you do it? You can see them like them. You can see them like them. You can see them. Where you taken anybody you know, you have like you do, you can see them like them. You can see them. Where you taken anybody you know, you have no, you can see them. What do you can't? You can see them like them. You can see them. What are you taken anybody you know? You can see them like them. You can see them. You can see them like them. You can see them like them. You can see them. You can see them like them. You can see them like them. You can see them. Are you taken anybody you know? You can see them like them. You can see them. You can see them like them. You can see them. What are you can't? You can see them like them. You can see them. What are you can't? You can see them like them. You can see them. What are you can't know? You can see them like them. You can see them. You can see them. You can see them like them. You can see them like them. You can see them. You can see them like them. You can see them like them. You can see them. What are you can't? You can see them like them. You can see them. You can see them like them. You can see them like them. You can see them. You can see them like them. You can see them like them. You can see them like them. You can see them. All you can't. You can see them like them. You can see them. All you can't. You can see them like them. You can see them. What are you can't? You can see them. What are you can't? You can see them like them. You can see them. You can see them like them. You can see them like them. You can see them. All you can't. You can see them like them. You can see them. All you can't. You can see them like them. You can see them like them. You can see them. You can see them like them. You can see them like them. You can see them. You can see them like them. You can see them like them. You can see them. All you can't. You can see them like them. You can see them. You can see them. All you can't. You can see them like them. You can see them. All you can't. You can see them like them. You can see them. All you can't. You can see them like them. You can see them like them. You can see them. You can see them like them. You can see them like them. What are you can't? You can see them like them. You can see them like them. And me, I said soft. You look like you're not pretending. My throat closed up. I'm not, I managed. Janet swallowed. I don't know how to be a person who understands this quickly. I'm not asking you to, I said, voice rough. I'm asking you to not treat it like a lie, or a joke, or something shameful. Janet stared at me, her face tight with emotion. Then, carefully, like she was stepping onto thin ice, she reached across the table and touched my hand. Her fingers were warm. I don't want you to be ashamed, she said. My eyes stung. Okay. I don't want other people to define you. Strike. Sloane, bless her, pretended to be very busy reading the menu so she wouldn't intrude on the moment. I squeezed my mom's hand back. That's what I'm trying to do, I whispered. Janet nodded slowly. Then do it. The show ended with everyone on their feet, clapping, laughing, tossing bills toward the stage like confetti. Janet clapped too, awkward at first, then more confidently, her hands finding the rhythm. When it was over and people began to spill out into the daylight, Janet stood beside me near the exit, pulling her coat tighter. Outside, the city air was sharp and real. Cars hissed past on wet streets. A couple in matching sparkly hats took selfies on the sidewalk. Someone shouted goodbye to a queen like they were old friends. Janet looked at me, then down, then up again. "I'm still going to have questions," she said quietly. "I know," I replied. Janet hesitated. "But I'm glad you didn't perform." I blinked. "Why?" She looked embarrassed. "Because I think if you had, I would have clung to that. I would have told myself it was just a show, that it was contained." My chest tightened. "And now?" Janet looked at me fully, really looked. "Now I have to deal with the fact that it's you, not a performance." I let out a shaky laugh. "Yeah." Janet's eyes softened. "You looked happy." I nodded, throat too tight for words. Janet reached up, then hesitated, then adjusted the small clip in my hair like she used to fix my collar when I was a kid. The gesture was so normal, I almost broke apart on the sidewalk. "You're my son," she said, voice firm, "and you're an adult, and I can't control this." "No," I said softly, "you can't." Janet exhaled. "But I can choose how I respond." She looked away briefly, blinking hard, then back. "I don't want to lose you because I'm scared." Something in me loosened, like a rope finally uncoiling. "Then don't," I said, quiet but steady. Janet nodded once. "Okay." Hands in her pockets, smiling like she'd witnessed a miracle, but wasn't going to ruin it by naming it. "You two ready?" Janet glanced at her. "Yes." Sloane's smile widened. "Cool. I know a coffee place nearby that does pastries the size of a steering wheel." Janet let out a surprised laugh. "That sounds ridiculous." "It is," Sloane agreed. "That's the point." We walked down the sidewalk together. Not perfectly, not without tension, but together. As we moved, I caught my reflection in a shop window. Forest green dress, soft makeup, hair pinned back. My mom at my side, still uncertain but present. Sloane on my other side, steady as ever. For a long time, I'd let other people's assumptions decide what I meant. Performer or punchline, secret or spectacle, something to be explained away. But in that reflection, in the ordinary act of walking to get coffee, I saw something else. I saw myself. And for once, I didn't feel like I needed to justify it.
Did you like the story? Hit that like button and tell me what you thought in the comments. Do you want to hear more stories? Subscribe and hit the bell. For exclusive content and early access, check out our Patreon. You can find the link in the description, or you can watch any of the videos shown on my right. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.